Hey y'all, so today I'm going to show you how to make this cloud puff blanket created using the blanket stitch. So super simple project, easy for beginners. I used the Bernat blanket yarn, which is my favorite if you don't know already. I used 3 different colors. I only showed 2 here, but I actually used another color as well. And you will also need a large crochet hook. So I used a 11.5 millimeter crochet hook, but you can use 11, a 12, whatever you have. This will work up really quickly. Go ahead and make yourself a slip knot and place that on your crochet hook. Okay, once you have that there, you're going to create your foundation chain. Creating a foundation chain is just yarning over and then pulling through the loop that's on your crochet hook, and you'll do that in a multiple of 3. So for my project, I did 66 stitches, 66 chains for my foundation chain, but you decide however large you want your blanket. You'll make your foundation chain that size as long as it's in a multiple of 3. Okay, so this is what it should be looking like. All right, now what you're going to want to do is into the 3rd stitch from the hook, you're going to insert your crochet hook. So you're going to count over into the 3rd stitch. You're going to start by making yourself a double crochet stitch. Excuse me. So you'll do 2 double crochet stitches into the same exact stitch. So again, to do a double crochet stitch, you're going to find the same stitch, yarn over, insert the crochet hook into that stitch, your yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. That is a double crochet stitch. You put 2 in the same space. Then what you're going to do is skip 2 stitches. Okay, and then you're going to do 1 single crochet stitch. I'm just showing you there on the screen how to do a single crochet if you're not familiar. And then in that same exact stitch, you're going to do 2 double crochet stitches. So you've done your first single crochet stitch, you're going to yarn over, insert your hook into that same space. Okay, that's your first one, and then you're going to do 1 more. All right. Now I will have this written tutorial over on my blog. If you would like to have written instructions, you can head over there and check it out. But essentially what we've done here is we've done our first puff. You'll skip 2 stitches, and into that next space you'll start by doing a single crochet stitch. Okay, just like this. Yarn over and then pull through those 2. And then in that same exact space, you'll do 2 double crochet stitches. So very simple pattern, you all. I'm not going to stay on camera long doing this, but I am going to show you how I transition from rows, and then I'll show you how to change your yarn. So here we are. I'm just continuing to work down the foundation chain, and you're just going to continue doing 1 single crochet stitch and then 2 double crochet stitches all in the same space. So it's important, you all, when you are creating your foundation chain, to make sure that you don't do it too tightly, because you have to work back through it, and this is a very thick yarn. A tip that you might want to do is use a larger crochet hook when you make your foundation chain, and then switch to your smaller one. That way you already know that your holes are going to be large enough to work back through. Okay, so here I am at the very end. You just want to make sure that you do a single crochet stitch in the very last spot there. So say for instance you did your entire row and you're like, oh no, I don't have 2 spaces left. That's okay. Just go ahead and put 1 single crochet stitch in the very last stitch. That will be fine. Chain 2, and then you're going to turn your work. Turning your work is just flipping the yarn to the other side. And then you're going to just, in that same spot of that chain 2, you're going to do, you'll do your double crochet stitch. So you can kind of see that space. It's pretty gaping, pretty large. All right, and I did 2 in that spot. Alrighty. So now we're going to still be doing the same thing. We're skipping 2 stitches. However, it's a lot easier to see. If you pull your work a little bit, you'll see the the single crochet space. You'll work into that single crochet space. So if you kind of give your work a little tug, you'll see larger spaces. So in that space, you'll start by doing a single crochet stitch, and then you'll do your 2 double crochet stitches. So you're not, even though you're counting 2 stitches over, you don't have to really think about it as much, because it's really, you'll be able to really see it as you're working down the row. Okay, so we're just going to do our double crochet stitches. Okay. And again, we're doing 1 single crochet stitch and then 2 double crochet stitches. Right, and see, if you give it a little tug, you have the 2 stitches there. You're skipping over that, but in that space right there, you'll end up doing your single crochet and your 2 double crochets. So this project, I promise you all, it works up really quickly, especially since you're using a large crochet hook and you're using chunky yarn. So if you have like a last minute gift idea that you want to do, like a throw or a baby blanket, perfect project for that. You can get this done easily in an afternoon if you just sit down and get it done. See, this is what it looks like. And then you're just going to continue doing it all the way down your chain. Now, one more thing, you can count your clusters. I'll put all my information, how many clusters and things per row, on my website, but count your clusters. You should have the same number of clusters, which is that set of 3 in every single row. Over here in your last stitch, you're just going to go ahead again and you're just going to do a single crochet stitch to end out your row. Okay, so once you worked along a while and you're ready to change your yarn color, you're just going to get your new color, drape it over your crochet hook just like you see there, and then continue to like crochet. So you're just going to pull through, and then you will continue doing your chain of 2. So at the end of the row that you want to change your color on, right before you do your chain of 2, this is where you will create your color change. Now you have an option. You can tie your work off here, or you can carry the yarn across the top. If you're new to crocheting, I would suggest just leaving it there at the end there, tying it, and then we'll work with that at the end of the project. So again, we're in the very first stitch, so we're going to do 2 double crochet stitches in that same spot. And in this case, your chain of 2 counts as your first stitch. That's why we're only doing 2 double crochet stitches as opposed to the 1 single crochet and then the 2 double crochets. So this is what you have, and then you'll just continue working down the row with your new color, and then when you get to the end of the row, you'll switch back. Well, in my case, I switched back to my original color. So it just depends on how you want to, if you even want to change colors. You don't have to, honestly. You can keep it in one color. I just did that to add a little bit of dimension because I used such a mute color in this blanket, just using that brown. Okay, so I'm going a little faster here, but it's the same concept. You're going to skip 2 stitches, and then you'll do a single crochet and a double crochet in that same space. So see what it's looking like? Now this is me further down the row. I'm going to just show you how we not in the row, but how we change the yarn back. So had we carried the yarn all the way through, you wouldn't have to do this step. You would just pick up the yarn and keep going. But because we did not, we're joining the yarn again. So we just did just like we did before. We draped the yarn across the crochet hook, and then we're just going to do our chain of 2 and then turn our work. Okay. So please slow that part down if you didn't catch on. And again, you have an option. You can carry that white yarn across. I wouldn't. I would just leave it laying there, cut it at the end, tie knots, and then keep working like that. I mean, especially if you're new. If you're new to crocheting, I would do that just because it gets kind of weird when you're trying to carry yarn and learn stitches all at the same time. Okay, so I'm just showing you here, just like we've done before. We are just working down the row with the new yarn color. So In this project, I ended up changing the yarn color a few times, rotating back between color A, B, and C, A being the brown, B being the white, and then C being like a multicolor brown. So it's up to you, again, if you want to change yarn color and how often you want to do it. All right. The only other thing that I want to show you all is if you get to the end of a skein, I don't know if that will be an issue if you're using 3 skeins of yarn, but however, if you're making this larger, you may come to a point where you run out of one color. For me, it's a timing thing, so if I know I'm getting to the end of the row, I would prefer to end it at the end. But if you're, say you're working in the middle and you run out of the same color yarn, this is how I would change the yarn. So here I've come to the end of my yarn, and I need to attach my new yarn. I would just tie a knot, and this works for this type of yarn because the yarn is so thick. So it's not, the knot will not be an issue that you're tying, and you'll just continue to crochet. The Bernat blanket yarn is perfect for this. You really don't have any issues with seeing the knot or feeling the knot just because of the nature of the yarn. But you guys, this is really the crux of the project. Again, instructions and everything are on my website. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comment section down below. And if you guys aren't already on Instagram, I do have an Instagram page, and I'm a lot more responsive over there just because the messages come directly to my phone. So if you have left me a message over here on YouTube and I don't get to it and yet it's immediate, just send me a message over on Instagram if you're comfortable with it, and then I can answer you a lot quicker. So anyway, you'll just end up cutting those little straggly pieces of yarn. You'll cut them off at the end, and this is what it kind of looks like. You're just going to have different rows of color. It's really soft, guys, really plush blanket. The final blanket that I created was, I think, 46 or 44 by 48. Nice throw. Okay. And this is what it looks like, pretty much kind of done. All right. So anyway, you guys have a good day. I will see you all in my next video. Bye.